Babylons, hear me now. If I, Aaron Barrow could talk today, I got something to say. Why, raise your flag, but open your eyes. If I, Aaron Barrow, had to speak today, what I see would break my heart away, nothing changed. Just a mirror frame, same corruption, just a brand new name. My people, I'm sad to say, you reaping all you sow today. The pride and industry fade away, and now we fighting to find we way. Life at two extremes, I tell you so. Hope and hunger, high and low. Poverty mixing with champagne flow, but poor man still can't grow. Suffering and celebrating, starving while them still partaking. Nations rise, time to break that spell. Stop showing contempt for yourself. Change when thieves lead the way. Corruption sweet when give us pay, and government take what poor man lay. Taxation high like mountain peak, while schools and roads still spring a leak. Them flying high, them living sleek, but poor man vice still 2 weeks. So tell me now, who you blaming? Who make the system shaming? Them raise the dead, destroy the cane. No migration needs the pain. You be leaders like the clay, and now me are playing God today. Talking sweet but turn away from the people who make she laugh. Say alright, let we rise again, take back pride, build Barbados from inside. And I, Aaron, gone back to sleep again, Aaron, but I pray next time I wake, my people go rise, rise I say. Bimshar still alive. Still alive, we just need to revive.
The honorable member began by saying that the foreign reserves are well set. Every Barbadian knows that this country has not earned its foreign exchange. This country earned qualification for loans. That foreign exchange, what appears to be healthy foreign exchange, was not generated within this economy. That foreign exchange was generated by negotiations with lending agencies. And there's nothing wrong with borrowing money. In principle, nothing wrong with that. But we all know that that borrowed money has not found reinvestment within the local economy, and that's why you borrow money. When a government borrows money merely to present a facade to the rest of the world, and that is to say, look how rich we are in foreign exchange, and that foreign exchange springs from loans, you really are not achieving anything that is worthy of praise. You're not. Every last penny of foreign exchange borrowed should first be committed to the local economy by way of investment in the economy. And when we say the investment in the economy, we're talking about investment in people's lives, providing work, investment in the production of goods and services as a way of growing the economy. So where has the growth in this economy occurred? If there has been any, I've made the point that it has not been to the benefit of the majority of the citizens of this country. Of course, there has been some growth, but it has been growth at the uppermost levels, and it has not reached down to those in the middle and those at the bottom.
The night Barbados turned a page, December 4th, 1961. December 1961. A Barbados still living under the long shadow of colonial rule. A country of sharp class lines, economic uncertainty, and a widening gap between those who had access and those who had only hope. For months, the island had been humming with political energy. Meetings packed village spots, debates heated rum shops and bus stands, and one phrase echoed from St. Lucie to Christchurch: Operation Takeover. It was bold, it was defiant, and it was the rallying cry of the Democratic Labour Party. By 1961, the DLP was only 6 years old, but Barbados already knew its voice. Led by the charismatic, sharp-minded Errol Walton Barrow, a former RAF officer, lawyer, and parliamentarian, the party presented itself as the champion of the ordinary Barbadian. The teacher in a small classroom with too many children. The sugar worker earning too little to dream. The domestic servant hoping her daughter might have a better life. The young people thirsty for opportunity, hungry for dignity. The DLP campaigned on a simple, radical promise. We will modernize this country, and we will do it for the people. Free secondary education, fair wages, better housing, democratic rights, and the bold possibility that Barbados could chart its own course. The political establishment dismissed them, but the people listened. Election Day, December 4th, 1961. From early morning, Barbadians poured into the polls. Men in shirts and trousers, women in Sunday dresses, some still in uniforms after finishing an early shift. This was no ordinary election. This was a reckoning. Rum shops emptied. Passengers debated fiercely in the bus stands. Everywhere, the question lingered. Is tonight the night something changes? Behind the scenes, the DLP's young organization, disciplined, energetic, determined, monitored the count with a mixture of hope and dread. And then, as the night unfolded, the numbers began to shift decisively. The results. When the final tallies rolled in, the island had spoken with unmistakable clarity. The Democratic Labour Party, 14 seats. The Barbados Labour Party, 10 seats. For the first time in history, the DLP had won government. A cheer rose from the campaign headquarters. Supporters flooded the streets, not with noise and spectacle, but with an overwhelming sense of relief and possibility. Barbados had turned a page. A new government had been chosen. A new leader was on the horizon. The dawn of a new era. In the early hours of December 5, 1961, Errol Walton Barrow was confirmed as Premier and Minister of Finance. He stepped forward not as a man intoxicated by victory, but as a man burdened by responsibility, aware that Barbados had handed him not just power, but trust. His first cabinet reflected the seriousness of the moment. James Cameron Tudor, Education. Gordon Ferguson, Communications, Works, and Housing. A.D.C. Edwards, Social Services. W.A. Crawford, Trade, Industry, and Labor. Henry Allen Vaughan, Minister without portfolio. A team not chosen for privilege or pedigree, but for purpose. Barrow declared that a new Barbados had begun, one where education would be open to the children of cane cutters, where workers would have rights, not favors, where land ownership and dignity would no longer be the privilege of the few, and where the people, not the colonial administrators, would shape their own destiny. What December 1961 meant. The 1961 election was more than a changing of government. It was a changing of direction. It marked the rise of the modern Barbadian state, the birth of a social revolution, the empowerment of the working class, and the beginning of a political philosophy centered on fairness, opportunity, and national development. From that moment, the DLP's imprint became permanent. The decisions of the 1961 to 1976 era would lift Barbados from a sugar colony into a middle-income democracy admired across the world. But all of it, every school built, every family moved into new housing, every worker protected, every institution formed, every stride toward independence, all of it began on that decisive December night. December 4th, 1961, was the moment Barbados made a choice for progress, a choice for dignity, a choice for transformation. It was the night the Democratic Labour Party moved from hope into history, and the night a nation began its journey toward independence, confidence, and self-determination. The story of the DLP cannot be told without that night, the night Barbados decided it was ready to change.
Good evening. Welcome to our Thursday edition of DLP TV. As usual, we have a distinguished panel here tonight, and I watch DLP TV on Tuesday, and the young people are really doing well. As I've told you before, we've developed a format in which we bring the young people in on Tuesdays because we recognize that, and it sounds like a cliche, but the future belongs to the young people, so they should have a say in what goes on in this country. Tonight, however, we have a panel of persons slightly older than young, only slightly, and we want to look at something that the government did last week in Parliament. Our topic tonight is 225 million for them. What is for us? And when the government went to Parliament last Friday, they passed in the lower house the Economic Diversification and Growth Fund Act 2025. Now there's something quite unprecedented about this. You do know what is the consolidated fund. That is the accumulation of monies owned by government, taxes and so on, that have been collected by the government, and it is sacred. You just can't take up public funds and do as you wish. In fact, there are many checks and balances when a government wishes to spend that. Even 1 cent, there must be a check and a balance on that. I say this legislation is unprecedented. It's a very strange piece of legislation. It is legislation that gives the government the power to send $225 million out of Barbados. And the legislation itself says that the government will have the power to send at least 75 million Barbados dollars per annum. Now, presumably, if the government is sending that out of Barbados into another country, it means that they have to send foreign exchange. So, in the first place, I would think it represents a leakage of foreign exchange out of this country. Well, perhaps it is not a leakage. A leakage is something accidental. This is quite deliberate. If government passes a law to export monies out of this country into another country, that's not a leakage. That is deliberate, and it has been condoned by legislation. But I want to read for you what the legislation says in particular about that money which is to be sent out of Barbados. And it is called the Economic Diversification and Growth Fund. For the time being, please ignore the words Economic Diversification and Growth Fund. Sometimes government has a way of stringing words together that mean very little, or that bear very little relationship to reality. But most importantly, I want to read for you what the legislation says is the purpose of that fund. The purpose of the fund is to provide financial support to qualifying companies to increase employment and contribute to economic growth. So there we have the first purpose stated. It is to provide financial support to qualifying companies to increase employment and contribute to economic growth. But here is where it gets very strange. These companies are companies operating outside of Barbados. We come to the other subsection. It says a qualifying company, and that's a company that qualifies to receive your monies, your taxes, your monies that have been collected by your government and placed into the consolidated fund, are to be exported to companies called qualifying companies outside of Barbados, companies that operate outside of Barbados. Let us read on. So this qualifying company under the legislation refers to a company which A, has a real and substantial economic presence in a jurisdiction other than Barbados. A real and substantial economic presence in a jurisdiction other than Barbados. In other words, a company that is operating substantially outside of Barbados. So we're going to be exporting our monies from our consolidated fund and sending it to countries outside of Barbados, the companies outside of Barbados. Now, the legislation thus far has not said which companies, it has not said which countries. So let us go on. So that's the first aspect of the purpose, that the company must be operating in a country outside of Barbados. Secondly, that company, to qualify for these monies, your taxes, must also engage or intend to engage in real and substantial economic activity in Barbados, so that the company is based in a country outside of Barbados and it must have an intention, or it must be operating in Barbados. We don't know. Is it going to be manufacturing outside of Barbados and selling goods into Barbados? If that is the case, you're exporting foreign exchange to these companies overseas, and presumably if the company has an office here and is selling those manufactured goods overseas into Barbados, and Barbados is buying them, more foreign exchange gone. You see, this is a very strange government, and this is very strange legislation, and that is the stated purpose. In short, in summary, sending monies from the consolidated fund to companies outside of Barbados, and these companies, in order to qualify, must prove that they intend to do business or are doing business in Barbados. They don't say what kind of business. They don't say whether the business here or the arm of the business here is importing, or whether they're operating in tandem as a joint manufacturer. It does not say. But there is ministerial discretion, and that minister receives advice from a committee. That committee, 6 persons. Committee that make decisions should always be 7, an odd number, so that you don't have an even split. But that's neither here nor there for the time being. I think we all have the point that this is very strange legislation. I think it is unprecedented. What concerns Barbadians at this time is that we have little money going around in this economy at the lower and middle levels. A lot of suffering in Barbados. We don't want that to become a cliche. I was discussing with somebody today, a professional, and he was saying that a lot of Barbadians are having difficulty paying their professional fees, and a lot is going on in this country that is not good. And here is a government establishing a scheme to export highly valuable foreign exchange to companies overseas. They do not describe these companies. They do not limit it to the nature of to certain businesses. It's just very, very broad. We know that this government had encouraged Barbadians to go and set up business in Guyana. We know that this government had encouraged Barbadians to set up in Suriname, and Suriname is interested in it, and it will prove to be interesting over the next few weeks, because we're going to have a lot to say about the Suriname connection. But I've said enough. Let us come to our panel tonight. To my immediate right is Miss Felicia Dujon. You're a doctor, or
Miss.
You're Miss. Felicia is our candidate in St. George South, recently declared. Felicia is a lecturer at the University of the West Indies. I think you lecture in philosophy.
I do.
And Felicia has a very keen interest in human rights, and she has spoken on human rights. She's the party spokesperson on education, the indefatigable Miss Felicia Dujon. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you, and good evening to our listeners, and of course, good evening, Barbados. Quite interesting discussion that we should have this evening. And I think it's important that Barbadians understand that in such times, it is our consciousness that will make a clear judgment for us. And the issues that we will be discussing not only deals with human rights, but just your right as a citizen, your right to have a government which is transparent, your right to have a government that consults the people. Because one of the things that I've recognized in all of this discussion is the lack of public consultation, the lack of public or citizenry involvement. You need to have this discussion. It's an indictment on them not to consult persons. So it's not that we're saying that, the government does not have the right to look for investment, and we'll come back to that, but the mere fact that they did it in the dark, unknown to citizens, is something that is very questionable about this government. And it's something that I don't know how much, but how can you trust a government that does such to its own citizens when we are struggling in this society? It seems that we have so much, we have plentiful and bountiful here that we are willing to just take and just leave like it's a public purse. And I don't think that is something that it's an injustice. It's an injustice to citizens, but I think we will have a deeper conversation on that.
Yes, we will have a deeper conversation, and we always have deep conversations when we have discussions with the next panelist, Felicia's immediate right. A man of many worlds. He is a medical doctor, always a medical doctor. I was going to say he's a medical doctor during the day, but he's always a medical doctor. And when he's not being strictly a medical doctor, he is a preacher at his church, and not only a preacher at his church. Sometimes he is involved in music. I think he plays the keyboards.
Yes.
And on the last occasion we were here, we normally sit by and talk a little bit after the show. He had to rush off to do his Christmas program. As in introducing Dr. Elvis Wickham, I want to ask him, how are preparations for the Christmas program at church going?
Well, my part in the Christmas program this year is relatively small. Do have a very complicated song to play to back up the chorale group. And that will take some practice to ensure everything is together. I preach only occasionally. The main thing is playing on the instrument that I do.
I see. Yeah. I saw you flinch a little bit when I accused you of being a preacher. But if you preach once, you're a preacher.
When asked.
When asked.
Okay.
Well,
preach the word of God, not my personal bias. When asked.
Okay. Well, the quality of discourse that you bring to this panel, I'm sure many churches will be after you in the not too distant future. I'm sure of that.
As God wills.
As God will.
Yeah.
To Dr. Wickham's right, this I think is the best known face on DLP TV. This young man has been here more often than any of us. He does the youth segment on Tuesdays. So he's also a young man. I like to introduce him and say that he was a 200 and 400 specialist. We like to boast that we have rounded people in this party. Damien was a 200 or 400 meter specialist. He has a very interesting personal story, BDF youth program, and then one day he got up and said, look, I want to do law. Damien is a bright young lawyer. Damien Fanus, welcome to DLP TV.
Thank you very much, comrade. I'm very glad to be here as usual. It would be remiss of me if I don't mention my Felicia Dujon shirt. I'm wearing it in solidarity with her. I believe that she's the right person for St. George South. Yes. So she has my endorsement. Vote
beautiful.
Felicia Dujon.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm not going to tell out any secrets when I say, look, the Democratic Labour Party is always prepared, and before we come to the show, we ask ourselves, what are we going to talk about and how are we going to talk about it? Mm-hmm. And I first wanted to go to our own personal experience in terms of our memories of industry in Barbados, because this legislation and the Caribbean, Felicia, you're not getting away, you got to talk about the other parts of the Caribbean. Presumably this legislation and this initiative, let me dignify it with the word initiative, I've never seen anything like it before, but I want to focus on our topic. We're looking at the export of money to another country, and we're asking the government, well, what about us? What about us? And don't we have here in Barbados a history of industry? In fact, this country was born out of industry, the sugar industry. I think tobacco may have been around here at some point, I'm not too sure. But I'm going to personalize it. Elvis, you're rural. Damien, you are urban.
Yeah.
So that your memories of the industrial sector in Barbados may be somewhat different. Who wants to talk about their memories of industry in Barbados first?
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah, no, you're the older one.
I definitely remember a very vibrant sugarcane industry.
Yes.
In fact, both my parents worked in it at some point. There was also cotton picking, you know.
Cotton?
Oh yeah,
St.
yeah.
Philip?
Oh yes,
Really?
oh yes. I helped pick cotton on many occasions.
Is that
In
so?
fact, picking cotton helped to send me to school. It absolutely did. You know, and then of course, sweet potatoes, yams, etc. So I definitely remember that. In fact, I often accompanied my father on the truck to the factory to offload the canes, etc.
Which factory was this?
Well, at that time, there were a number of factories in operation.
see.
Buckley's was still in operation. Fort Square was still in operation. Carrington's was still in operation as well. So it was primarily those three, given that we lived in St. Philip. I also remember the Six Rose Industrial Estate, which is not that far from where we live, and various manufacturing activities there.
Yes.
I have memories also of dressmaking, sewing industry as well. Did a tour to the Newton Industrial Estate at one point
Yes,
with the primary school. So, you know, there was definitely significant local manufacturing activity.
Yes.
I do have vague memory of the chip technology industry.
Yes, and so on.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Never got to visit any of those, but we had to learn about that in primary school social studies.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Damien, you're the urban man, and you're the younger man. You've heard the doc talk about his memories, and he's going to have a very interesting autobiography when he writes it. A doctor who tells a story that speaks of humble origins, and he is a real success, and we are so proud of you, Dr. Wickham.
Thank you.
Elvis, your early memories of industry in Barbados. I said Elvis. Damien.
So, right, comrade. My early experience in industry would have to be the tourism sector.
Tourism. You're truly an urban man. Tell us about tourism.
My father, he used to work the entertainment sector at the various hotels. He was a fire eater.
Really?
Yeah.
My father too.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we're coming to you next. Let's hear about this fire eater in the household.
Right. So.
He didn't teach it to you, did he?
No. No, but he did teach me how to wrap his rods. Right. So he.
What was his name?
Stephen Fanus.
Stephen Fanus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he also used to engage in some calypso too. I think I can't remember the tent he was in.
Tell us about the fire eater. You used to watch him?
No, I never got to watch him perform because during that time I obviously had to be asleep and I had.
Oh, yeah. It was a nighttime
It
thing.
was a nighttime thing. So
Yeah.
he actually had to travel to various
Hotels.
to
Yes.
do shows. So if
Yes.
he had one at 9, he might probably have one at 10:30,
Uh-huh.
and then go on like that. But not only that, because you would see him, but then also too coming over the television with those ads saying that tourism is
Our business. Let's play our part.
Let's play our part,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
it was influenced, but it was just to see all of the ads, and that in a sense kind of influenced me too. But he didn't want fire eating for me. He told me that he wanted me to go to school, get an education. He
Yes.
wanted me doctor, lawyer, bank manager, whichever it is, and that would have helped send me to school.
He's alive?
He's alive today.
Must be a very proud man.
I think he's too proud at times.
He watches DLP TV.
He watches
Yeah,
the
better.
TVs, and when he comes, he's overseas now, living in Massachusetts.
Oh, he's in Massachusetts.
Yeah, he comes back every now and then, and you get to hear him talking about me and my other brother who's a chef.
So he's in Massachusetts right now, watching his son
watching this.
talk about him. Well, look in the camera and tell Dad, Happy Christmas now.
I don't think he's coming back this year. But more than likely, probably next.
Are you sure he's watching right now?
Yeah.
Good, excellent. So that your early memories of tourism and that centers around your dad. Bridgetown, you were on the other side of Bridgetown, Foundry. You don't know anything about the Foundry.
No.
But you heard about it.
Heard about
You go there quite often. You don't know this?
the Foundry?
You go to where the Foundry is located.
Yeah.
You go. I've seen you out there.
So you got me lost here, comrade.
Young Damien Fanus, the new court complex. That's where the Foundry was.
Really?
Yes, and the soft stones at the front of the building that don't really fit in with the modern architecture. Those soft stones are taken from the wall that used to be the Foundry wall.
Wow.
Yes, that is a reminder to people as to the origins of that place. and the foundry involved itself in very heavy metal works.
Okay.
So we'd be not driving. I would leave Wesley Hall during lunchtime and walk to the biscuit factory, and sometimes we'd walk down to White Snacket, which is where Andrew Pilgrim's office is now.
Right.
And when you walk by there, the wall is very high, and you hear all these heavy metal works going on. And in that area, you get the smell of the Shirley biscuits, the very sweet aroma of Shirley biscuits being made, because the biscuit factory was right there. I think it is still there.
Yes.
So you don't have a consciousness of that side of Bridgetown.
Not necessarily. If I do, I can't remember.
So your memory is the glamorous tourism industry.
Well, to be honest, right? To be honest, my father really, we were inside people.
Inside,
Yeah, I never really.
you not embarrassed to come on the show and tell people you can come outside? There was a stigma attached to that.
That is the truth. If
No tennis, no cricket. Come on, David.
my neighborhood was very quiet.
Very quiet neighborhood.
The only children, I guess, that were in that neighborhood with me were probably my neighbors who I consider, well, family, right? Family, and the boroughs in that
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
And my father used to keep me very close.
Very
to him.
close, yeah. Very
close.
protective man.
Very protective man. We never really went out. Well, if we did go driving and they go sightseeing, it just everything used to just go like a blur.
Like a blur.
Like a blur, because we never really used to do it much. But my father used to keep me inside, and he would make me read a chapter. He would ask me what you did for homework today.
So how you became this 200 and 400 man, not being able to come outside? You ran in the corridor or something?
To be honest, he never really wanted me to engage in sports. Also, he saw it as a
Oh,
person type.
so your disobedience expressed itself at the athletics field.
The sports is in my family. My father, my brothers. Well, sorry, my mother's brothers. Right? They were footballers, national footballers. So
Really?
Yeah.
Your mom's brothers?
yeah,
Give us some names, please.
Michael and Cameron King
Michael.
and Cameron King.
Michael King, that's the name I remember.
Yeah, Michael. King.
Midfielder?
Midfielder.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right. So I never really got to play a lot of sports, but I did a lot of reading. I can tell you that.
Yes, yes. Well, one would expect that if you're inside the house, you're doing something in there wholesome,
Yeah.
and that's reading.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you made me feel young, because I don't remember the foundry at all.
Oh yeah, yeah, the foundry. The foundry is right there on White Park Road. Heavy industry in the middle of Bridgetown. The foundry. Doc, you have a recollection of the foundry? Heard of it?
Heard of it, very, very vague recollection. I definitely heard of it, but obviously never got to visit. Wasn't too familiar with what happened there. But certainly I do remember from the things that I said earlier that generally, late 70s, early 80s, what I would be more aware of, Barbados manufactured many more things than they do now.
Yes. Yes.
Back then, and that's a serious issue that our manufacturing industries, have really faltered somewhat,
Yes.
and we are forced more or less to import most of what we use here. That's foreign exchange going back out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Felicia, I'm going to come to you in a minute, but I want to explore something else, because these gentlemen are making me feel too old by talking about the foundry. So I'm going to take them to the other side of Bridgetown, down by the Harbour Road. Surely you remember the industries down there. You're old enough to remember, I can call the name CDS and the data entry firms. That was a big thing back in, I think, the 90s, around here, 90s, probably early 2000s, when a lot of young women were employed. You don't know about CDS either, and the data entry firms?
I don't remember the names, but I do recall a lot of data entry activity being done in the Harbour Industrial Estate.
And you refer to light industry. There used to be, I think, manufacture of clothing in that area. And then there was a company that used to manufacture the equipment for ice hockey. Used to be manufactured right here in Barbados. Yes. Yes, Barbadians had no idea, no connection to ice hockey, but the equipment was being made here in Barbados.
Were the garment factories down that side?
Yes, the garment factories were down there as well. The garment factories were down there. Quite a lot, and mainly women. A lot of our young women and not so young women were employed in those, what I call light industries, and the men were employed in the heavy industry at the foundry. Felicia, you've heard these two gentlemen.
Yeah,
Your recollection, you're the Caribbean person on this panel.
I am.
Your recollection of your early memories of industry.
Well, there is so much, and one of the things I do remember is that not only entertainment, because like Damien highlighted, my dad was also an entertainer who came to Barbados.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who did, he came to Barbados and worked in the tourism industry as well. He was a magician, so.
The magician?
Yeah, so that was my dad.
A fire eater?
Yes, fire eater, magician, and they would come, they would do a lot of limbo dancing. They would come to Barbados, do exchanges, so that happened
That's interesting.
in the 80s. And I also remember my grandparents being farmers. They would come to Barbados
Tell us about that
to
one.
sell the produce. So whether it was sweet potatoes, plantain, at the time they had the boat coming to
Yeah,
Barbados.
right here in the wharf,
Right,
on the
so
schooner.
all of these things. So the sectors that we
You're a very Caribbean person, Felicia.
have always been.
Yes, yes.
So the sectors, we have to remember that the agricultural sector had a prominent role in Barbados for the islands.
Yes.
The dashings and the yam, all the sweet potatoes, the eddos, and
Yes,
things. A lot of
yes.
the traditional, not particularly dashing, because dashing is not really a staple of Barbados.
Yeah, we did the Edo more
We
than
tend
anything
to
else.
do a lot of that at the time, and I remember, because at the time I used to live in the city as well, so I would between
Here in
Sofa-
Bridgetown?
No, I mean I'm talking about Felicia. And so you would hear, who's going to Barbados, when they're coming back, and so that tradition was always there. And when I moved to Barbados to study, and when I came, just coming to visit my brother, you would have seen there was a bustle of economic growth. Yes, in
Here in
Barbados. The tourism sector, you would have seen that as well. And as a young woman, I remember going to Bridgetown and seeing, there was always that bustle in town. And they change in your perspective, because as someone coming from St. Lucia coming to Barbados was like New York for us. It's just like that burst of economic development is happening. So we always look forward to coming to Barbados. And so you would see agricultural sector, the textile sector made a prominent role, because a lot of St. Lucians came to purchase clothing in Barbados as well. And I think a lot of people, even now, and I think some of the factories shut down after a few years,
Yes.
which is very unfortunate.
Yes.
And so they always have that economic dialogue between Barbados and other countries. And we seem to see a decline of that.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate in some extent, but I can say that during that time, one of the things that I did observe is their interplay of the younger and older generation. So the younger generation always participated as well.
Yeah.
So whether it was in tourism, in the textile, or agriculture, there was the influence of the young persons being part of the economic drive of the society.
Yes.
But now we're seeing a decline of that.
Yes.
We're seeing a decline of our young persons not participating in agriculture. We're seeing a lot more in tourism, but not say much in the other sectors. And it's unfortunate, and I think that's when we have some time we will discuss the idea of the education system and what has happened over the period of time, and where we see the decrease of our young men engaging in terms of tertiary education and even vocational education. And so I think these are the kinds of areas, because I remember even young persons from the other islands coming to Barbados to get the City and Guilds certification in electrical engineering, in agriculture.
Yeah,
Yes, there were a number of
It was
the older
rare.
generation came to Barbados to study.
So there was genuine Caribbean integration. Yes.
Whether
yes.
it's for agriculture,
Very informally. Very informally.
yes, and
Yes.
so I met a lot of older generation persons in St. Lucia who came to Barbados to get a City and Guilds certification while studying here. So there's so much that was happening, but again, the decrease is alarming, and it's
Yes.
very concerning.
Yes, yes.
Because when you notice that decrease, you also have to think about the younger persons in the different countries as well, and even in Barbados, where I think a few years ago we had concerns where young persons could not enter the Polytechnic because there was no space.
The numbers, yes.
So
yes.
these are the kinds of questions I think we really have to look at, and why our young persons, particularly our young men, why are they not getting that kind of motivation, that kind of leadership roles that they would, that kind of encouragement, because it has always been part of who we are as a people.
Yes, yes.
And I think you asked the question, what is there for us? And it brings me back to, DMX, who says, what more do they want from us? What more do they want, that we've given so much? And we expect a government to give back in the way that they
Yeah.
should, and that is not happening. And as the Democratic Labour Party, as a social democratic society, I think, and our philosophy is being based on social democracy, I believe it's important that we have to remember why we do what we do. Our policies have to be people-centered.
Yes.
It has to be people-centered, and I think that is why the Barbados Labour Party has lost its way. It has lost its focus on dealing with the matters that affect people and citizens of this country.
Look, we have a lot. Thanks, Felicia. We have a lawyer on the panel. Well, there are two of us, but you're on the panel. I'm merely the moderator here. I'm not going to play lawyer tonight. Felicia has delivered a very interesting presentation as to the spontaneity of business that occurred between Barbados and St. Lucia. I was saying in Parliament, I think they just came up on the boat. I don't even know if they went through immigration or customs. They just came at Wharfside Dock. I don't know if you know about this. Right there where Waterfront Cafe used to be. They'd
Yes.
come there and you'd see them offloading the mangoes and the produce and so on. And the Bajan hucksters or hawkers would come and buy, and they'd go off to the market and the boat would just sail and go back. Real, genuine Caribbean integration and commerce without any formality, without any regulation. But here we have this legislation now which seeks to formalize relationships, and not only formalize but monetize these relationships at the expense of the local treasury. And we're not against Caribbean integration, but we become suspicious of legislation which is so non-specific. It doesn't say which countries, it doesn't say which companies, it doesn't say, Damien, the nature of business, it doesn't say whether we'll be importing these things and using more foreign exchange. But I come to you as the lawyer. You have a concern as to a section of this act. That's section 4?
Section 4, yes, sir.
Well, take your time and educate us.
Right, so Section 4 speaks about the resources of the fund, where the monies are going to come from to populate this fund.
Yes.
And if you read Section 4, it starts off, the resources of the fund shall consist of an initial capital in the sum of $225 million. So they outline how much is the initial startup.
Yes.
To be drawn, it goes on, to be drawn from the consolidated fund, so you know where it's coming from.
Yes.
Over a 3-year period in annual installments of $75 million.
So explain to Bajans, each year, this government is giving itself authority by this legislation to pay out how much?
$75 million.
75 million.
Right, so that would then make up the total sum of $225 million over 3 years. Now
Over
here
3
is where I
years.
have the problem. Coming down to Section 4B,
Yes.
it says, and such other sums as are.
And not or.
Not
and.
or. And
Yes.
such other sums, which means that $225 million
It's just a start.
is just a start.
Yes.
So we could literally see a situation where that this is passed or enacted, and then they draw down another $225 million and take it probably to an even or odd $500 million out of coming out of the consolidated fund.
Yes. Yes.
And that is to be approved by Parliament by resolution. Here is what is very, very troubling for me. Section 4B2 says,
Well, before you go to 2, let Bajans understand that they can do the 75 million in the first year, and that they, it doesn't say or, and they can go back to Parliament by resolution and increase the amount.
With the majority in the House.
With a
With the majority in the House. Well, that's not going to be for too
So
long.
that is just
Hopefully.
that is just the starting.
That's just the start of
That
it.
is just the starting.
So let Bajans know 75 million per annum is a minimum
Is the
that
minimum.
Parliament gives itself the
Minimum.
authority to go beyond the 75 million per year.
Yep. And they can do that by resolution. So that is 4B1.
Yes.
4B2
Yes, come to 2 then.
is very troubling for me because this now actually articulates where other sources of money can also come from. Because
I want to hear you on that.
Because if you're pulling from the consolidated fund, right? This section 4B1 also doesn't really specify if just only the consolidated fund. It speaks, that could be the sinking fund. You could
Yeah.
probably even divert it from other resources like public services and so on. where is this money going to come from? That 4B1 is what really troubles me in that regard.
Yes.
4B2
Yes.
says, or made available to the fund by way of gift.
And that's the consolidated fund.
Well, not the council. This is other funds here now.
Oh, I see.
Other funds, right? And so, approved by Parliament, it says that the first and 4B could be anywhere out of the Barbadian coffers itself.
Right.
Right.
But
4B2
yes.
now allows them to receive money or funds by way of gift, grant, or otherwise. So,
checks.
who are these?
Open-ended.
Right. So the question is,
Movement of money.
who's going to put up this money? Where is this money coming from? Because it doesn't specify who can give this money. So therefore, you could find yourself receiving money from a sovereign wealth fund or a politically exposed person.
Yes.
A politically exposed person is somebody who could be a president of a country, a minister, or who has, I guess, influence to then come and give you this money.
Yes.
And then otherwise, when it says or otherwise, could be a loan. Which
A loan.
could be a loan, because otherwise would be mean any other forms of money coming from anywhere. So otherwise could be a loan, which means that if they want to go back and say borrow 500 US from the IMF, and then you know the IMF know when you borrow money from them, they give you conditions. So if they want to populate this fund when it's depleted, they can otherwise go back and borrow a loan. They can take a loan and populate this fund. My issue is that not only do they not say who these people are coming from, but how do you identify who are the persons you're going to take this money from? Because in a sense, it could be a super conglomerate. It could be an individual who might receive their revenue from illicit activities.
Yes, precisely.
Which means that there's a situation where the fund could be operating with someone who engages in money laundering or who gains their money from illicit activities, and nobody knows until you don't know who you're operating to until some operating with in these regards, unless they are exposed as a money launderer or exposed then as somebody who engages in this activity. So which means that the fund could be doing business with persons until they are exposed.
Yes.
Which opens the funds to all sorts of problems. Contaminations. So then Section 4 really needs to be addressed, because one, it says it starts at 225, but that doesn't mean it will stay at 225, and they can pull it from any other means.
Yes.
From the consolidated fund, the sinking fund, or even divert it from other industries or other public services.
Okay.
2, who are the people that can come and give you a gift and a grant? And this otherwise, what is otherwise? Is otherwise a loan? Which means then that they can come with conditions and then higher interest loan that will be put on the backs of the Barbadian people.
All right, I'm going to opine at that point. Doc, you want to say something, but let me give us a quick legal opinion here. Where legislation uses specific words, gift, grant, or otherwise, there's a rule called the e justum generis rule, where you have specific words followed by general. In this case, the specific word would be gift, grant, and the general word otherwise. The law is that general word otherwise must be restricted to the nature of the specific word, so that if you have gift or grant, a loan would not be what we say of the genus, of the kind. So it would have to be gift, grant, I don't know, but donation, but it probably by strict legal or what we call statutory interpretation, it would not extend to a loan, because a loan is not of the kind, of the genus of gift or grant. So let us consider that. Let us consider that as a legal opinion of some merit, I hope. Doc, you wanted to
Yes,
say something?
I mean, following on from Damien's concern in terms of who possible contributors to this fund would be, I mean, you will have to tell me, the lawyers here, does the bill include any obligations for disclosure to the public, any anti-corruption measures, conflict of interest safeguards? And from what I understand, the minister, and it doesn't specify which minister, but we presume it could be Minister of Finance,
Yeah,
and we know who that is.
Yes.
You know, the authoritarian minister can enter into agreements on such terms and conditions as they see fit, guided only by the advisory committee. So we have the minister who can decide what terms and conditions is entering into agreements with the particular companies.
Right.
So that is of some concern, the lack of safeguards, the lack of specifics. You know, very very vaguely written legislation. Do we know whether this was drafted by our local folks here? Was this drafted by high-paid consultants? You know, I don't get. And then the rush,
Yes.
or what seems like a rush to us.
Yeah,
What seems like a rush to us was laid in Parliament this December 9th.
Last Friday.
Right?
Yeah, last Friday.
Yeah.
Last Friday.
So the lack of safeguards is a serious concern. Lack
I
of
did not
safeguards,
think
and
we
too
were.
much power in the hands of the minister.
Precisely. Now, normally when you're granting or lending monies, all of us here, you have security. I mean, if you go into the bank tomorrow,
Exactly.
they want security. Now, here it is, we have 75 million Barbados dollars being sent to companies overseas. What's the security in that country? Supposing one of them gets, let's say, $10 million, and that's a company overseas. What's the security? What guarantee does government have that the person doesn't run off? And if he runs off, or if the business fails, what security do we have?
Does the bill specify whether it will be loans to these companies, grants,
Precisely.
you know, equity stakes?
Precisely.
We do not know.
And
we do not know.
We do not know. So the bill is so open-ended. As you said, it is a rush.
Yeah.
It is a rush, and it must be a concern of the Democratic Labour Party as to how these monies will be alienated to companies overseas without security.
And you do have to wonder whether it's deliberately open-ended with the consolidation of power in the hands of the minister to enter into agreements with the particular companies.
Precisely.
The bill also doesn't define real and significant presence in the jurisdiction outside of Barbados. What does that mean?
Yes.
What does that mean?
But now that we're there, let us try to zero in on the legislation and the scheme. What kind of businesses would this be applied to? I mean, if we thought about it, I don't know. I suppose I can think immediately of agriculture, or agriculture. A man from an agricultural district has just turned up with us. First time he's ever been late for DLP TV. We're not going to ask for any excuse. Welcome, David Warren, our man in St. George North. In fact, we have our two St. Georgians here tonight.
Yeah.
St. George South is in the house,
Yeah.
and St. George North. I wanted to rhyme, but I can't get it done. David, welcome. I think you know what we're discussing.
Yes.
And I saw your face light up when I said, but what security can you have? Can a government have? You give money to a company overseas, and the company decides they finish with that. How do we get our money back?
I don't know. My big concern is that with this bill, looking at it from a layman's or young
perspective,
person's
yes.
perspective, is that here is my government having some kind of arrangement or entering into some kind of arrangement
Yes.
to lend money from the consolidated fund. But is this the same government that has divorced Transport for CBC,
Precisely.
QEH from the consolidated fund?
Precisely.
Aren't these institutions really supposed to serve us?
Yes.
And the QEH comes to mind very readily because I have family in there who are lying on their backs
Yes.
and who would have spent long times in the E&E. Why is it that the government can find money
Yeah.
or is interested in assisting companies
Well, exporting our money.
exporting our money?
Yeah.
Well, we have a situation where health service is in such a mess.
Yeah.
So in truth and in fact, we put the money in the consolidated fund.
Yes.
We are not seeing the
Benefits of
the
it.
true
right.
benefits
Yes.
of our taxes
In our social services.
within the social services.
Yes.
But Here's the government now going to take out millions of dollars to lend or give. I don't know. I don't have to find the details. But what I'm saying is that my concern is that while we suffer from poor social services,
Yes, poor delivery.
our money, the money that we work hard and pay into taxes,
Yes,
is now going to go to help companies
overseas.
on some hope that they will produce jobs and whatever else and whatever else.
But David, that's what I don't understand. Where are the jobs going to come from? If you're sending the money, if you're sending 75, let's say 10 million to a company overseas, and that company is doing business with Barbados. Because remember, it says the business, one assumes the business is going to be done in that country overseas.
Yes.
I would assume that the employment is in that country overseas. The brunt of that, the majority of that employment is in the company overseas. So how is it benefiting us in terms of employment? There's so many unanswered questions here.
From the bill, the companies that the money will be given to, because I said the bill really doesn't specify whether it's a grant, give, loan. It does not. Are companies that have real and substantial economic presence in the jurisdiction other than Barbados.
Yes.
Not companies that have that economic presence in Barbados, but outside of Barbados. So
In fact,
we're inviting them.
to provide financial support.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were wondering whether loan, gift, whatever.
On the
Provide financial
promise
support.
that they will engage in real and substantial economic activity in Barbados.
In Barbados, precisely.
But where are the safeguards? Where are the
That
fine
is the
print?
point. That is the point.
And the minister is empowered to enter into the specifics of the agreement with these companies who are non-Barbadian companies, unless the bill says, is there any requirement for the minister to then report to Parliament? What are the reporting measures? What agreement? What would be the terms of those agreements? Too much power in the hands of a minister to give money to companies outside of Barbados.
And where is the Auditor General in this? Because the Auditor General, I don't think, has jurisdiction outside of Barbados. I saw a reference to the Accountant General, but no reference, as far as I can remember, Damien, to the Auditor General. And an auditor, it does make reference to the Auditor General. Okay.
I'm seeing
The Auditor General has powers.
the Accountant General.
The
So
Accountant General,
the
not the Auditor General.
Not the Auditor General.
Right. If you see it, find that section for us, please. But as far as I'm aware, our Auditor General in a sovereign country does not have jurisdiction outside of Barbados.
Section 9.
9?
Yeah, subject
Read it
says,
first, please.
The Accountant General to administer the fund. Section 9. Subject to Section 5, 7, and 8. The Accountant General shall be responsible for the administration of the fund. 10. The accounts fund shall be audited by the Auditor General at least once annually. As you said, Comrade.
By the Auditor General, right,
That's
the
right.
accounts.
But they don't think
But
that the Auditor General will have the...
No, he
jurisdiction.
can't follow, as far as I'm aware, he can't follow. The Auditor General has no, look, the Auditor General goes into another country, he's a tourist. Like anybody else, he can't go there and say, well, I'm the Auditor General in Barbados, I come to look at these monies. No.
I don't.
He has no jurisdiction extraterritorially.
But why draft the legislation? I mean,
It is so hurried.
I'm just going to speak as open and
Yes,
because I
yes.
think we need to be honest voices, and which is with all of the legislation and all the legal jargons and everything else. The average person just want to know, why would you want to create a law so that you can get into the public purse? It's that simple. We work so hard
Precisely.
for our little pennies. We can barely pay our bills. We can barely afford what's in the supermarket, but we don't have a problem with you taking our taxes. But then you want to create an entire law so that you can have and gain access to those funds.
Yes.
I think there's something very dubious about this entire bill. I think personally that this bill needs to be repealed.
David came and mentioned
Yeah.
immediately the hospital.
There's so
which
much
reminds us
issues.
that our own hospital was
Yes.
was soliciting funds recently.
Yes.
How much was it?
100,000.
100,000.
To the point that
So
gas
our
station-
hospital was short of $100,000,
Yes.
and we are sending $75 million overseas
But the-
out of the consolidated
But
fund
the
out
other
every year.
question that we also need to ask as Barbadians, don't we have companies here that would love
Precisely.
to have
Precisely.
Yes.
In fact,
$75,000?
Felicia, I'm glad you asked that question because that brings me to the other question that I want to ask this panel. Now, this legislation is sending monies overseas, and you've asked the pertinent question. Don't we have industry here that deserves some government support? And the question I wrote to ask y'all was, what are the areas of industry in Barbados in which the government can invest on behalf of our people? Beyond the traditional, there's music and entertainment, the arts, sports, information technology. There's something called robotics. You're the youngest on this panel. There's something called robotics that young people are very interested in.
Yeah, I think it's actually part of the syllabus in some secondary schools.
I see.
As well.
And primary schools as well.
And primary schools. My real issue is that it seems that the Barbados Labour Party, their macro principles is trying to reach out into, I guess, the international world and bring the investment, and rely on investment to come and I guess, touch the Barbadian life.
Yeah, but for the first time, Damien, we are financing the overseas investment. We never, it wasn't supposed to be like that.
Right, so my thing is that why is it that we don't look more at our micro principles, try to get money into the household,
Precisely.
into the entrepreneur, help that individual know
Precisely.
to really be able to increase their spending power, and by that micro principle will also help improve your macro.
Precisely.
Which means then that when you look at all of those variables like income, spending power, productivity, you can then get more revenue from your taxes because they have increased. So my question is why does it seems like this government wants to make Barbados the Dubai of the Caribbean? Why not the Silicon Valley of the Caribbean? Why not help Barbadians now to form tech companies?
Precisely.
Why not help them now to provide non-traditional services in, I guess, computing, information
That's
technology?
That's the point.
Anything along those lines, you can probably
Music.
like
Music industry.
anything along those lines to help Barbadians to basically get exposure. And then still help them to increase their revenue as a household, and then you give them more spending power, and then you will get more revenue from your taxes.
The point is, our government is not investing in our people.
Because they don't.
An example, Jason Holder signed a contract with the IPL yesterday or the day before for 1.6 million US dollars. Is that the amount? And that's 1.6 million US dollars that he has signed, and in the Indian Premier League. And we don't have a professional cricket scheme here in Barbados. We don't have professional cricket in Barbados. So that if the government is sending $75 million overseas every year, could not the government have sponsored a professional cricket league in Barbados?
They could have.
We have produced Jason Holder at $1.6 million in the Indian Premier League without a professional league here. Supposing we had a professional league, Doc, who knows how many professional cricketers we could have produced beyond Jason?
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that this fund is not for small companies. It's not for local companies.
It's not for local
It's for
companies.
entirely large foreign companies in the hope that they would bring substantial development to Barbados, making us continually dependent on and vulnerable to
Precisely.
international interests and
National shocks.
activities.
Yes. And as we said at the beginning, what is the nature of, let's try to be fair, let's try to, what kind of business could government be interested in? Is it retail? I mean, is it farming? Farming is logically one because our agriculture has declined so badly that we probably do need, we don't need to, we need to invest in our local agriculture. But maybe this government is more comfortable investing in agriculture in other countries at the expense of the local Barbadian farmer. I mentioned it in Parliament last week. The pork from Suriname, for example, which is killing the local pork industry. They're bringing it in, it's frozen, and they're selling it, I'm told, as fresh pork. And the local farmers here, their industry is being killed. So let us assume it's agriculture, that you're sending millions of dollars, let us say perhaps to Guyana, lot of land, Suriname, available land, perhaps Belize, with the agreement between Barbados and Belize. What is it doing to local agriculture? What does it then do? Is not this money better spent? Because the topic says, what about us? Is not the money better spent on Barbados. You drive through the country, Felicia,
Yeah, well,
and I'm seeing the cows grazing on fields that used to be cane fields and agricultural fields.
you know, I have to say this. I have to say it because the reality is that it seems that the government doesn't understand that there is a point you have to put Barbadians first. And I think that is the question that we have. Barbadians have to be first. And if we are to take any of our funds, it has to be for the benefit of the people. Why do we have to feel obligated to take our own funds so that other companies can come here? Why they should be able to do that?
Well, look, Stephen Strickland seems to be a farmer, and yes, let the comments come. Steve, let's go back to Stephen. Stephen says we, the farmers, could use some of that money. That's what
Yes.
Stephen say. Yeah, let's go to Stephen.
I agree.
Stephen, if you're a farmer, we hope you are, unless you're speaking on their behalf.
He is.
Well said. He is a farmer.
He is a farmer.
We, as farmers, could do with some of that money to produce and reduce foreign currency.
Correct.
Well said, Stephen. Let the comments come in, please, public. You were saying. So the farmers need some money. You're St. George
I
North.
would agree with the idea of helping our farmers. Because
Yes.
if our farmers can produce,
Mm-hmm.
then our food security would increase.
Yes.
Right now, I mean,
Precise food
every-
security. That's the point.
If food,
Because if it is grown here-
emphasis.
It is present here with us. So when we talk food security, we mean a guaranteed access to food.
Okay,
And what
that's it.
greater guarantee than if it is in Barbados?
But better now, we have a serious concentration on food security. I can tell you what you mean. You got Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
you got the US,
Yes.
you got the warships out there.
Yes.
Just imagine
Mm-hmm.
we got a little skirmish out there.
No food from them.
What are we going to eat?
Precisely.
Right? We got to hope that we got a large enough stockpile of food
Mm-hmm.
that we can feed our people,
Or that our fields are planted.
or that our fields are planted.
Yes.
But we know that our fields aren't planted.
Are not planted,
because most of our
precisely.
fields are growing houses.
So there's no food security in Barbados at
So,
present.
right. So right now we
Feel that.
we don't have any food security. We have houses to eat. I saw a few horses. But what is interesting is that this government has no interest in agriculture.
None whatsoever.
None.
None whatsoever.
And why-
I live in a statistics,
Why I am
David.
so big on agriculture
Mm-hmm.
is because when food comes into Barbados,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know how these foods are produced. We don't know what kind of water they're being watered with.
Yes,
It could be
irrigated with,
sewage.
yeah.
They could be irrigated with sewage water.
Correct.
And
Correct.
very often, and I say this deliberately, very often,
Mm-hmm.
remember, if you listen carefully,
Yes.
there are recalls of certain foods, even the lettuce and stuff like that, are recalled because of salmonella outbreaks.
Really.
And generally that happens because of the imbalances in the sewage water that they use
I see.
to
So there's
to irrigate.
contamination.
So they can easily remember this government has a plan
Mm-hmm.
to do some extraction of water from sewage
Yes. Yes.
to then feed it to agriculture.
Yes.
and that's risky
Mm-hmm.
because when it goes out of balance, when the bacterial levels goes out of balance,
Yes.
then our health
Is affected.
is at risk.
Yes. Yes.
Is at risk.
Yes,
It's
indeed.
a serious thing.
Yes.
And food security should. I mean, this government has never showed any real interest. The Barbados Labour Party government, now and before, has never shown any real interest
In our people.
in our food security.
And in our people.
And in our
Investing in
people.
our people. That's
But-
why the topic is what is for us? What is for the local farmer? What is for the local musician who has talent? Some of our musicians, I'm told, are in Dubai. And the industry needs to grow. And it needs to grow beyond the now emerging area of soca. I mean, we have some excellent young singers in Barbados, and nobody is investing in them.
This,
Yeah.
I find that this government believe that their type of investment in the artist is a, I guess, true effect.
Do a show, yeah, do a
Do a
big
show.
show. Do a big
Do a
show, you
show.
come and perform.
But being an artist is a very expensive venture because when
Uh-huh.
you talk about studio time,
Yes.
you know, when you talk about investment in time as well, because you have to take, if you're working a 9 to 5, you have to find time to go in the studio and record.
Yes.
And then practice for performance, especially when you are if you have, like, say, a particular look, that has to be spent on as well. If you
Yes.
have to hire dancers, persons to help, I guess, bring off the performance. It is a very expensive venture for entertainers, and I don't think that we appreciate our entertainers or our creators enough.
But tell me this, Damien, would it take $75 million a year to support an entertainment industry in Barbados?
I don't even think it would take that much. Or you just need to
Precisely.
invest. You
Precisely.
You obviously you will do your cost analysis for sure, or you come up with a policy and then you make adjustments as that policy goes on through the years. If you find that you invested 10 and you believe that you need 5 more, then you add 15 the next
Yes.
time. If you need,
Yes.
if you come to 15, realize that's not servicing, then maybe 20, maybe 25. But it's not going to take 75 million to put inside. To build an industry, because once you invest in it, the industry can build itself.
Yes.
And it can grow, because
Yes.
then if you have the best artists here, people will come
So
here.
the entertainment industry is neglected.
Is neglected.
While we sending 75 million overseas. Let's go back to Stephen. The farmers on the Spring Hall land lease are reeling from the floods and the difficulty in plowing. Can't remember the last time I saw the plow from BADMC. To plow those fields certainly isn't going to cost $75 million. Certainly isn't going to.
Something is fundamentally wrong with taking funds that we contributed to
Precisely.
to give
Precisely.
to companies that, by the definition of real and substantial economic presence in their existing
In their
jurisdiction,
country.
quite frankly, don't need the money. We're paying them to come here.
To come here.
I mean, make it make sense. I mean, that really is ludicrous.
I don't
We
understand
contributed to the fund, but you're taking money that we contributed to give to others to encourage them to come here. No mention about whether it's the loan, terms of the loan, nothing like that. It'll
Precisely.
be all up to the minister.
Precisely. Under the old industrialization by invitation, that was the brainchild of Sir Arthur Lewis, the St. Lucian, who got the Nobel Prize, did he? Sir Arthur Lewis, yeah. Yeah, we had industrialization by invitation. In other words, we were inviting the industrialists to come here. And you talked about Six Roads Dock, we talked about here, Bridgetown. I can tell you about Grisette's, there's Newton, there's the airport. So that we were giving concessions to people who were coming here and investing. And what was the benefit to us? Employment. But this one, David, this one is weird. And we are neglecting our young people in Barbados, our entertainers, our sportsmen. If you want new areas of investment into industry, we have a lot of young people here who are leaving us and going to Canada and North America and Dubai and England and Europe. And as far as the East, and we are sending $75 million to somebody to do his business in his country. Where is the employment for Barbadians?
I would like to hear the Governor General of the Central Bank position on this.
The governor of the central bank.
I would like to, because I would like to know how he feels, because he has been telling us.
He is on the committee.
That would be a conflict of interest. And
That's an interesting legal point. We're going to ask Damien to look at that one.
We should, because the reality, we should look at that, because if he's telling us that the economy is doing so well, then why wouldn't we have to go outside and pay people to
Pay
come
people.
in? So
But we're not paying them to come in, Felicia. We're paying them to stay in their country and do business with
It
Barbados.
seems contradictory to say that. What the governor is saying and what the prime minister.
But before you go there, Felicia, I know the point you're making, but ought not the government to have given Barbadians specifics? What kind of business are you targeting?
Well, this is
and we're here scratching our heads trying to find out
because
what
this is
kind
a
of business could they be targeted.
Because this is the Barbados Labour Party, and they have done business in that way. They have never been transparent in the first place. Citizens should never be surprised with such bills and legislation being passed. This is not the first one. We've had the tin bill. We've had the cybercrime bill. We've had several bills where this government has done in secrecy. And so the reality is that when we see those things are happening, we shouldn't be surprised. This is part of them, part and parcel of how they operate.
Yeah, in
And
secrecy.
and the mistrust that Barbadians are getting now, it will be a disadvantage to a certain point, because they're thinking that every government may operate that way. and that is where voter empathy comes through, because we believe that if that's how this government has operated,
That everybody
chances
will.
everybody's like that. But no, this is just the Barbados Labour Party and the Mia Motley administration, because
Yes.
we've never seen such practices in this country.
I think
We've never had situations where citizens are always on edge. We don't know what to expect from this government. We're always on high alert. Something is always happening. It's like a few weeks last
Yes,
week, the
yes.
Minister of Education came out with this
Something comes along.
letter for parents that kind of put parents on alert and the society on alert. And now this, it's like every week something is expected.
Something exciting.
No, it's not exciting.
It is exciting, but it's
for
hardship.
them. But it's something that it's a reality that citizens have gotten used to. That at any minute, that this government may just function in such a disarray. It's not there's no procedure, there's no process, there's no consultation. Come to the public and inform us, okay, well, citizens, this is what we're planning to do, because the economy is not doing as well as we thought it would.
Clearly.
Let's be honest
Clearly not.
and truthful to
Clearly not.
citizens. And then you see these things are happening in the public. But I want Barbadians to be very remind yourself the different types of legislations that have been passed under this government that has been a disadvantage to citizens, that will be a disadvantage to us. Because if they're taking our taxes, they're taking our funds, and we don't know, we have no idea. And it brings back again the question of who drafts those legislations, that it always have to be pulled back.
Yeah.
It always have to put citizens on edge. And we have to, this government has
So
to go.
Not you want to do.
the companies that are supposed to benefit are either engaging or intending to engage
yes.
in real and substantial economic activity in Barbados. The problem is, so they're doing that in their existing jurisdiction,
Yes.
and they're intending to engage in economic activity in Barbados. The problem is that intending to engage is not defined. So you and as we know, someone can intend to do something and never do it.
I never do it precisely.
Right? So you give this company money because they tell you they intend to engage in economic activity in Barbados, and they're going along about their business.
Precisely. And what is our security?
It's not mentioned. The minister can enter into agreement on terms and conditions that they see fit.
Look, on behalf of the young people of Barbados, let's agitate for the young people in Barbados. David Warren, what area of business is available to young people in Barbados that should attract government's financial assistance? This talks about financial assistance to companies overseas. So is there no young person in Barbados who is deserving of financial assistance to start his business? None at all? We're now exporting monies from the consolidated fund and investing in companies overseas. Have we abandoned our young people? David, there must be some area of business that young people can receive assistance for. You remember the loan, what was it called? The $5,000 thing that they were given. $5,000. 5,000, David. This government picked up a heap of young people a few years ago. I think it's called the trust loan.
Yes.
And gave them $5,000. And that is how they valued Barbadians, that each one was to get $5,000. But some foreign entity overseas
To get millions.
is to get millions.
Love it.
Is to get millions. So ought we not have to have been sick? Because the $5,000 was patronizing. Yeah, it was a token. Can you think of any business at all that young people? We mentioned sports. We mentioned music.
I going back to agriculture.
Back to precisely.
Why I have to go back to
The
agriculture?
land space is there, David.
There is land.
Good.
There is land.
So the
Lots
first
of-
requirement we can take off that the land is there.
Right.
Yes.
As I walk through my constituency, I meet young men
Yes. Talk to us.
who speak about agriculture. Actually, I met a young man.
This is in St. George North.
St. George North.
Yes.
Remember we had a flood
Yes.
recently.
Yes.
I met a young man who said he would like to set up a little kitchen garden right there in the gully where the flood occurred. And I
Really?
said to him, but that don't make much sense, because at the end of the day, when the rains come, your garden gone.
Washed away, yeah.
So I was saying to him, look, we need programs for people like you.
But it shows how badly he wanted to do this.
The young man wants to do farming.
Yes. And he was going to go into a
It's
gully.
not difficult. And what I have to say about farming is that there are several persons in communities around Barbados who understands farming very well.
Right.
And they will assist.
David, I want you to continue on farming with notice to the rest of the panelists. We're going to come around. David is our agriculture man. So think of some areas so that we tell this government that there are young Barbadians out there who deserve a part of this 225 million. Sorry to have interrupted you, David.
What makes farming so attractive is the fact that it's not difficult. And what makes it not difficult is that there are persons out there who will guide these young people.
Lovely.
I mean, personally, if a young man had to come and said, if I work at Sundown here, you can give me some tips, I'd be willing,
Yes.
right? And I know persons who are technical in
Yes.
agriculture
Yes.
that would be willing.
Yes.
And it is easy, it's an easy business to get involved in, providing
Yes.
we can have some security from the predator larceny and from the predator larcenists.
Yes.
We can have some, but all the other factors can be managed.
Yes.
Whether it is pests, whether it is animals, stray animals and stuff, all these factors can be managed.
Yes.
And if you give a lot of these young men and women land in Barbados to work, a lot of small businesses will pop up.
They will do it.
And I'm not just talking about the farming itself,
The marketing of
but I'm talking about the marketing
yes.
of the produce.
Marketing and sale
Because
of
what
the
I'm
produce.
seeing
Yes.
is that where there is still some farming going on, a lot of the persons set up a stall
Yes.
at the corner of the land or something. So
Yes.
And
You're seeing a lot of that.
they bring the produce to the stall and sell from that location. So it's not just the farming itself, but it's the selling of the produce
Yes.
that we must not
It's a whole
forget.
industry.
But we can't forget that during COVID,
Oh,
it is the farmers
that kept us.
that kept us going.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's the farmers, and farming is too neglected
Yeah.
in Barbados. Too many of us believe that dirt is dirty.
Yes, it is not.
Too many of us believe that dirt is only for a certain class of people. But when you look around the world, the people that make money in the world
Our
are the
farmers.
people that dig in the dirt
There we are.
and make money from the dirt. Right? Look at the Undertaker.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But this, seriously, farming is too neglected.
It's viable,
This guy-
David.
The Democratic Labour Party, when it returns to power, to run in this country, when it is given the mandate to run this country,
Yes.
must pay attention to agriculture, because it has brought us this far and we have neglected it.
We've neglected it. Well, not we.
Neglected
The
it.
government. The present
This government has neglected agriculture. Even under the last Barbados Barbadian administration,
Yeah.
it was neglected
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Remember
Yes.
they were going to sell the headquarters for a water park.
Yes. While the others think of their industry, I want to pay tribute to Junior. Junior R. His second name begins with R. I'm not going to identify him. I met Junior on Robert Street selling his produce from St. Vincent. Junior used to be a teacher in St. Vincent. He offered to sell me some produce, and I thought I would have a chat with him. He says he used to be a teacher in St. Vincent. He's here in Barbados. He's living here, and he goes to St. Vincent, brings up his produce, and sells it. So I said, so what about teaching? He says, no, I like this. I'm making more money doing this. So I want to pay tribute to Junior for being an exponent and a practitioner of Caribbean integration. You're welcome in Barbados, Junior. He went home to vote. Y'all want me to say who he voted for? No, I'm not going to say. But he went home and voted in the recent Vincentian election. and he brings his produce here and he sells it. I was saying that to give the others some time to come to their industry. Now, David has spoken eloquently as to the viability of the agricultural industry. Who's going to put up their hand and go first? Other possible industries of investment?
I would say education.
Education.
I would stick with education.
Yes.
I would continue to advocate.
Give us some
education.
details.
I believe one of the disappointment that young men and young women do have is the lack of training facilities. I think vocational skills are needed. And when we say vocational skills, we not only mean carpentry and construction, farming, but also we have areas like renewable energy, which is areas that young persons can enter.
And you're talking about formal training?
This is formal. But vocational studies is very important, because when we look at education, we try not to say, well, we look at in terms of academic. Skill training is very important as well, and I think a lot of young persons, when they do leave secondary school, they do not have access to that kind of training, and I believe it's something that we as a society have to look forward to, that we should provide those skill training at a very early age, so that when students in primary school, they do not say, well, gardening or farming is something dirty, we don't want to go into this, into that. So I think all of those kinds of areas should be introduced very early, primary, secondary school, those kinds of vocational training should be taught at
curricular reform, then you're advocating.
But they have been saying that for many years.
But nobody's implementing it.
The government did indicate that they were looking into educational transformation, but they have not looked at the curriculum. What they have looked at is bits and pieces. Let's throw in chess here, let's throw this in here. They haven't had no structured way of implementing those programs that can empower our students. And I believe, yes, we can teach all of the other types of academics in that sense, but vocational skills are necessary. You will always need an electrician. You will always need a plumber. You will always need someone in renewable energy. And I think this is the way that we can transform the society in and of itself, so to provide everyone with that kind of capability. And I think education has its place, and I think if we can implement and we can introduce more funding in those areas, because right now we have a government that has been wasting taxpayers' money in all different, transformation, this, and we have not seen real results coming out from that. Farming is, in a sense, and I will always say, farming is a science. There's a science behind farming. You not just go and stick something in the ground and expect that it would grow. There's a science behind it, and if we can teach those very early, and I think in schools at primary school level they do, in terms of in the Boy Scouts, they teach them those little fundamentals, and I think it's important. We have to re-examine or reframe or reintroduce how we see education. It is not just, the maths, the English, social studies, but those vocational skills are very essential. And I think if every young person in our society has a skill that can transform in any society, I think that will be a good thing for us. It will provide them with that kind of empowerment that they need. So it's not about just looking for work, but being confident enough that you can be your own employer, an entrepreneur in that sense. So I think that is very important, that we do not invest enough in vocational education, because they always seem to have a dichotomy between academics and vocational, but they're the same, because you still have to study, you still have to do exam. If you're doing electrical engineering, you still have to study. And I think we have to get to the point where we have to look at those fundamental skills, look at the variations of education, and see what we can actually do for young persons, because not everyone will be a lawyer, not everyone will be an engineer, but we can have persons that are graphic artists, we can have persons that are in renewable energy, we can have persons in aviation. So there's so much that we can do as a society, and I think we have limited ourselves, because right now we only have one or two in those industrial schools, those vocational schools, and I think there's so much more that we can do as a society.
You mentioned aviation. Let's pay tribute to Jeremy Stephen.
Yes.
Jeremy has not transitioned, he hasn't died. He is transferred from he was an economist.
Yes.
It's still an economist, and now he's a pilot.
But I just saw on social media today where a young woman, very young woman, is the first Barbadian pilot.
Really?
Yes, I can't remember her name, but these are things that are...
So all young people are willing, ready, and able.
And both, what I need to say is that it is not a society where belongs to men and this belongs to women. We're seeing women in construction. We're seeing women in, driving the buses. We've seen a transition of persons entering various fields. And I think what we have continued to lack is the transition of persons not seeing vocational studies as something that is lowered than the traditional form of academics.
It doesn't have the prestige of
Well,
the
it
other things.
shouldn't, because when it all comes under, lawyer will still need an electrician, you will still need one, you will still need a plumber, you will still need
At 3 o'clock in the
and
morning
I think
too.
it's important that we need to look at that. We need to look at that. We need to look at how we can ensure that, and I think part of the Democratic Labour Party is to look at an early age from primary school is to introduce our young persons to those skills.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's very important to do that as
I
well.
see the doc making notes furiously. We're looking at areas, and we're sending a message to the government that we have young people here who are talented and who deserve some of this assistance.
Yeah, very much so. I'll talk about two areas.
Yes.
One will be my support for the point about agriculture.
Agriculture, yes.
I mean, there's nothing more fundamental for me than being able to feed yourself. Nothing more
Precisely.
fundamental. We saw during the pandemic, our farmers fed us.
Yes.
And we seemingly abandoned them so quickly to go barking up the tourism tree.
Yes, yes,
All our
yes,
eggs in the
yes,
tourism
yes.
basket, making us extremely vulnerable to international shocks.
and so
I
on.
mean, I would reckon Barbados is probably the Caribbean country that is least able to feed itself,
that's-
should chaos break out
Precisely.
south of us.
Precisely.
Between Venezuela and the US. We are really not in a position as it is right now to feed ourselves, but yet we show that we can do it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that level of support was abandoned. One area that I would focus on that I'm aware of from young people, on that bridge area in terms of age, is internet activity.
Yes.
Instead of just being consumers of what's on the internet.
Yes.
Our young people are really talented. They can be content creators, and
That's the term.
and this is content.
There's something called a YouTuber.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Tell us about that, young people.
Where they put content out there, and the framework is in place to allow them to monetize.
Yes.
What they have produced. And to my knowledge, that doesn't exist
Yes, here.
at the moment.
I just want
Why doesn't it exist?
I
That
just wanna
no
ask-
investment in it?
I want to add, I just saw on social media again, this video game with the ZRs and the yellow buses.
Really?
So we're
So
they're doing that. They're using part of our culture to create video games.
Who is doing this?
I
Somebody
noticed
stealing
it.
it, or a local is doing it?
Roblox game.
Roblox games.
I
So
think I did
So
see-
who has created this?
I'm not sure, but I
hope it's a Bajan.
no, but Roblox is actually an American company.
It's an American company.
Oh dear.
But you can create your
You
own
can
reality, and it
create
was
your own
interesting.
So they've stolen an aspect of our culture and has not
no, not
monetized
particularly.
it.
I mean, a player can create
You
your
can
own
use the
reality.
technology.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
But it
I
was
see.
interesting to see the ZRs and
The
being
police.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, we interrupted.
But yeah,
Doc,
just
we interrupted.
generally, okay. Just generally, we know our young people are very talented. With computers from very young, they can do things that. And I gotta call myself one of the older folks now. We're clueless about. I have to ask my teenage children to explain certain terms and to show me certain things, and I didn't think I was that old. But to put systems in place to allow them to monetize their efforts, their
talents,
activity, their talent.
Yeah.
So instead of just being the consumer of the game, the creator of the
Correct,
game that
correct.
can then be put on Play Store,
Precisely.
etc., and be able to monetize that. Be able to monetize doing reviews, of products
Yes.
and putting other content out there. But as I understand it, we currently don't have that framework in place to allow persons to benefit from content that is put on the wider web, where persons internationally can be sewing into them financially. So we know that our young people can do it. They can create the games, they can create the content, but being able to benefit financially from outside of our shores, that isn't presently here. They would have to go overseas in order to get that financial benefit. And what we know is that our Barbadian young people can run with the best of them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes,
Extremely
yes.
talented, gifted. They just need the investment in them, which is why it hurts that we are willing to give 225 million of our dollars to foreign companies
Yes.
exclusively,
One
and
voters.
no local companies can't benefit from that.
Yeah.
But remember, she did say, give me a vote and watch me.
Watch me. Damien, your turn. This exam question that we set just now. Is it music? Is it sports?
It has to be sports. I
have to be sports.
I have to go back to sports because sports is where I would have gotten my start.
Right.
And if it wasn't for sports in a sense, and then joining the sports program, I would not be a lawyer today because with the sports came the education.
Excellent.
And I believe that we can invest in our young people. And the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We see that. We have so much talented athletes here, cricketers, footballers, and we don't even put something in place where that they can even make some form of money consistently on a seasonal basis that you can call it a professional career. And for me, I believe that at this point in time, the government has showed that they do not have the faith in the Barbadian people to be craftsmen of their own
I like
faith.
that.
So they continue to look outwards rather than looking inwards.
Yes.
And
they don't have faith in
they don't have
local
the faith in the Barbadian people to
Demonstrably
stimulate this economy.
Yes.
So that's why they keep looking out and keep, or I guess, literally throwing our money away now to other individuals because they believe that their future lies with this investment from overseas or invest in the companies overseas, and they're to come here and guess or grant us jobs. But really and truly, we can produce a sports sector that can compete with the best of them because we have the talent here.
Yes.
And all you have to do is just invest the millions, how many millions it could be. You could probably invest $75 million into a sports sector, and it could probably blossom.
Yes.
And then once you do that, the sponsorship may come. The sponsorship may come from overseas, it may come regionally, it may come internationally. We just have to set up our athletes to be, I guess, seen and to be winners. But this government doesn't seem to have the forethought or even the trust in the Barbadian people to pull themselves up from with their bootstraps to stimulate the economy.
Well said. And Mavis Lashley wanted to say to you, Dr. Wickham. Well said, Dr. Wickham. What's that? Lemuel tell our regular. What's Lemuel telling us? Let's go.
There are some jokers overseas who make millions from the internet.
And what's Keith Padmore saying? Can we read what Keith is saying? Or
The bill is poorly constructed and not in the best interest of Barbadians or Barbados.
Excellent.
It needs to be repealed. Will the DLP be taking any action whatsoever to see that this bill is repealed?
You get a unanimous yes, I think, from this panel. I mean, we can't justify this legislation. Well, I mean, you, lady and gentlemen, have demonstrated that there's so many young people out there craving for government assistance, David, and cannot get it. And we're throwing money at some ill-defined company overseas, hoping that they're doing business with a company here.
I'm going to throw a little span in the works, though. People want us, the Democratic Liberal Party,
Yes.
to step out front in regards to protesting these things.
Yes.
I ain't going to tell you what protests you should get involved in, because I got my own protest. I mean, it involves taking off all my clothes and going naked in front of Parliament. If all of us do that, then we
want to get you in Parliament fully clothed, baby.
we get attention with the government, and I think we will get results. But the reality is, people are concerned. People are concerned about these bills that come to Parliament that seem to be drafted somewhere else.
Yeah. Every few weeks.
Our leaders go missing. I don't know where they are. Somebody's acting.
Yeah.
And then they come back and appear on the scene.
Yes.
With a bill. And these bills always have penalties. It's almost as if we are being whipped constantly by this government, you know.
Yes.
Every bill, they want to fund you 200,000, they want to fund you 10,000, they want to fund you what you don't have. But yet they're taking the taxes that we are paying,
and the fines that we were paying,
and the fines that we are paying,
yes, and
to send them overseas. So, like I said, we got social services in Barbados that, I mean, we can start a whole conversation on the conditions of the roads in Barbados.
Yes. Oh man.
I just bought 2 new shocks on my car.
We're going to be doing a competition. Worst road.
I mean, I just
Who's seen the
brand
worst
new
road?
shock on my
Which
car.
road you were on?
And I broke the other one at the back of the car, and I broke the engine mount.
Which road, David?
I was heading to the airport. And I landed in some holes. I mean,
road. It was in bad condition before the rains of no.
We have to remind Barbadians as to what is really going on here. That a government that is sending $225 million overseas, at least, because remember, Damien, you told us that under the legislation they have reserved the right to send more. And we are driving on roads like that. And our young people are unemployed. And our hospital is underfunded. And our welfare department is underfunded. And we are closing down the transport board. That only asks for $3.50 for people to get to work. Schools next, Felicia, Dujon, all private schools if they continue on this trajectory.
The government has abandoned its responsibility to the people. And we have seen it in the last 5 years. We have seen a progress of that happening. So from 2018, we've seen what is the trajectory of this government. So it started, and I think Barbadians have gotten to the point where they have just become self-reliant. I know the government is not going to do much, so let me see what I can do for myself. So in some communities, people have started trying to pave the roads themselves. Put some gravel here. They have.
Yep.
It's terrible. They have just given up. I have been going through the constituency of St. George South, and I've seen it. It's horrible what has happened there. It seems that and when we spoke about the different areas or sectors that we could invest that kind of money in, you will notice that the government has abandoned its responsibility in all of these sectors, from agriculture to youth development, sports, health, education. And what we're seeing is that the citizens of this country they've basically given up. It's a hopeless state for them, because they know that even if they try to raise the alarm, even if they try to bring it to the attention of the government comes back and gaslights you and tell you, well, it's not as bad as you think it is. We're doing well. We're going to pass this legislation anyhow. Whether you agree with it or not, this is what we will be doing. And so the citizens do feel disempowered, and this is not democracy. When your citizens do not feel the right, or their right is being infringed upon, the right to express themselves, the right to have freedom of consciousness and free thought, because you can't argue. You can't tell the government you're doing something wrong. Because what the government does, when you tell them that you're doing something wrong, they would send one of the ministers to say, no, we're doing public consultation. Where exactly are you doing that? When the legislation has already been passed. So where exactly did you come to me and ask me if you can take the little 2 cents that I have, or ask the average person? And we're seeing it. I think right now is the best time that we're seeing what this government represents. We're seeing church leaders that are doing outreach are saying they have never seen so many persons coming to them for assistance and aid.
And there's something, Felicia, contradictory about a government that has people struggling so badly. I will send $225 million overseas.
They believe that the more we struggle, that the more we'll vote for them.
Really? So they're trying to create an impoverished and dependent population that just turns
Because they believe that welfare is a way of life for us. So we have to be appealing to them. We have to appeal for everything. We have to. And
So our dependency empowers them.
Exactly, and that's where it comes from, where you can find a minister of education wanting to send that letter.
Oh yes, that dangerous letter that they defamed it. And telling me nonsense about zero balance.
To remind us that we're in charge, we're in power, and don't complain because this is what we're doing.
This is what we do for you. Yeah.
And
So don't say a word.
We're the ones working, and it really breaks my heart when, like, at this point, the festive season, when you're seeing people going to the supermarket and trying, and people are out there asking and begging.
Yeah, we actually do see that. I think there's
I'm telling you, and
there's a report in CBC now saying that more families are seeking help for food.
It's everywhere.
This Christmas.
More persons are out there asking for the questions. We're seeing many of our elder folk, the homes that they were living in, and we've seen it in our constituencies. Now we have the private sector saying that, oh, we're going to help. We will help because the government has abandoned its responsibility. The only thing the government
to Barbadians?
To Barbadians. And the only thing this government is doing right now is creating legislations.
Well, and we need to reiterate this, repeat this the whole night, and sending $75 million per year overseas. Let the people of Barbados understand this. As a starting point. That with all the suffering and struggle in Barbados, your government is taking up your money and sending $75 million overseas to some dubious company. They haven't said. Look, during the debate, Elvis, did any minister say, I don't listen to them, to be honest. Did anybody say what kind of company?
No, it's open.
What kind of business?
I don't recall.
Did the newspapers report? Because they were obliged to listen
I don't
to
remember
them.
seeing that in the newspaper.
So you just passed this legislation?
Yes, and authorize the minister, who's not specified, but we suspect Minister of Finance, the PM, authorize the minister to come to make agreements as she or he sees fit.
Yeah, and this committee will advise them.
Yes,
as
but
to whether
it's still
overseas business is viable.
Yeah.
Why not just go overseas and set up a business and hope
Precisely.
that the government will lend you some money?
Precisely.
Because it just does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It sounds risky. It sounds risky. I think they'll probably do better if they do the stock market.
Well, we discussed earlier the question of the lack of what is the government security? What is, or as we used to say in the old days, what is the collateral? Somebody said on the board earlier that supposing the company overseas goes bankrupt, what happens to our money? It's our money, you know. Yeah. It's not the government's money. We keep calling it the government's money. It's our money.
It's risk. It's risk. It's to me, from my untrained mind in economics, it seems to be risky. And can Barbados afford to lose money?
We could have afforded it if our people were not suffering.
This government continues to practice top-down economics. If we take care of the top, the wealthy, eventually some benefits will trickle down. Show me one country in the world where that has worked. It doesn't work. Rich people like money.
Yes. Yes.
They like money. It just does not work. And in any case, that's our money. We contributed to that fund. It should be benefiting us, not an overseas company, on the promise that they will engage in real and substantial investment in Barbados, but with legislation that has no safeguards. None of those things are defined. You're entirely trusting a minister. And then what I found very laughable, except that it is serious. PM says every cent will be accounted for.
Which one?
I almost dropped out of my seat laughing when I saw that. Every cent will be accounted for?
Like Carifesta?
That's my point. I was just about to say that. This government has no track record of accounting for every cent. For any cent. We still don't know what was spent on Carifesta, what project, and numerous other examples of monies unaccounted for. And I go back to give me your vote and watch me. This is how I will treat the public purse. And on that point of Carifesta, I remember a drone show at the end of Carifesta. Looked real fancy. That could easily cost over $100,000.
Oh yeah, the fireworks. Yeah.
You remember how much money the hospital wanted for those two gas machines? Well, the PM was on VistaJet heading to Algeria.
Oh yes.
$100,000.
For us,
so the drone show the monies for the drone show could have easily bought those 2 blood gas machines for 2 each.
There we are. There we
Easily.
are. Maybe Slashley is telling us some people should get their 1,300 before Christmas. Somebody wants, and no checks ain't come out yet. Yeah, but that's the vulgar aspect of this government that believes that we're all up for purchase.
Yes.
You know, the transaction. We're
Transactional nature is disrespectful.
the transaction.
The transactional nature of it all is disrespectful because they feel as if like they can just buy you off.
Yes.
The effect.
Yes.
Like maybe a 300 here, a 1300 there. The thing that has me about this companies investing here, they haven't spoke about the profits yet. Where are they going to keep the profits? The profits obviously aren't going to be kept here.
Correct.
The profits are going to be sent overseas.
Repatriated.
So then basically you're not benefiting either way. So this government to me just, I don't know what to tell you.
And bear in mind that we would have paid them to come here.
We would have paid them to come.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. But can we think of any, I've asked this more than once, can we think of any business, I mean, perhaps the government has the answer, but can we think of any business that could work for us under this scheme? If it is retail, it isn't working for us because we're taking up 2 bits of foreign exchange. Foreign exchange just to send to them, and then foreign exchange to buy the goods.
I was thinking maybe,
Telemarketing.
or the data entry.
Data
What kind
entry.
of work?
Data entry.
But how much does it pay? And that's the other thing. What we as citizens?
Yeah, but
how
why,
much-
Felicia, why must we take up our money and invest in a foreign company?
The same way they took the land and gave it to
And
them.
gave it, excellent point. Excellent
That's what they
point.
do. That's
Yeah.
how they
That-
fund
And
it.
give to the bank.
That particularly has to be prosecuted.
Oh, remember, they didn't just give land to the bank. The bank also has tax-free status.
Yes.
Diplomatic
and
immunity.
Immunity, yes, yes. Let's hear from John Nathan. A few months ago, Minister Humphrey was telling Barbadians that we need to give more to help the poor, yet we can export financial assistance. There we are. Let's hear Lemuel tell. Lemuel is always with us every week. Yes, that's you. That ask Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos how trickle-down economics works. Oh, Meme is telling us they started to pay out the 1,300. Hip hip hooray. It's true, Mr. Walrond. Okay, great, great. This is a failing government.
Yeah, but failing government needs the Democratic Labour Party. The people are frustrated. I know they are. They tell me they are.
Yes.
We got to step up. However we can step up, we got to do it because this country needs governance. What is happening to us as a people right now, it ain't fair. Not fair. What the government is doing to us is not fair. This bill is so ludicrous. It's so risky. It's so dangerous.
It's so wrong.
You send $75 million out the island, and next thing you hear that the company was bankrupt.
Precisely.
It be gone belly up. That's $75 million that we could not afford to give away. Right? And like Damien said, sports. We got a lot of sports facilities in Barbados
We do?
that are not open on eBay.
We do?
And
You mean the 11 mini stadia?
I was at a
Defense?
sports facility last Friday, and the grass was up.
Which one?
The grass was at St. Helens. The grass was
St.
up to my
Helens.
knee.
That's the James Bryan?
James Bryan complex,
Yeah.
and the guys just want to do a little football scrimmage.
Couldn't do it?
And when the ball lands, it stays there.
It stays
It's
in-
not rolling.
it disappears.
Because the grass is too high. They're not. These facilities are not being.
Well, David, when you identify these problems, say, and they send in 225 million overseas.
And all the people, all the James Bryan's complex needs maybe a dedicated tractor on location to cut the grass, and the place needs to be open so people can come and use the facilities. Because what is it's having a community center and it's closed. A community center should be open every day.
Yes. Well, the government said they're going to solve that problem by appointing community managers. So they'll put a man in the community center, he becomes a community manager. We don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to get
Probably
a lot
get
of
$5,000 a month for that too.
yeah, and get a lot of people to gather around him. Community. He is a community manager. Yeah, they say that just 2 weeks ago that they're putting people in the community
They
centers.
don't know what this government don't seem to know exactly what they want to do or what they need to do for the people of this country, because the only thing they do well is scream at us.
Yes.
You want to hard ears. We get treated like idiots in Barbados.
Yeah.
They treat us like idiots, and we're sitting down, we're sitting and behaving like yes, massa kind of behavior. We got leaders that somehow believe they're emperors, they're supreme. They employ us. We don't employ them, and somehow we have fallen into a mode in Barbados where we are treating the people we elected to govern. We are treating them as if they're doing us a favor.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't seem, they're not accountable to us.
That's what the road building program is about. You get a road and you're done the biggest favor. It's not your taxes. It's the government's money.
These are things that we expect them to do.
Yes.
And that we put
They
them
have a
there
duty to do it.
But somehow this government seems to think that when they do a road, they're doing us a favor. If they build a facility, they're doing us a favor. They're using our money.
You know what I find particularly disgusting, David? They build a road and somebody on social media is putting it, oh, this road has been built. Hooray. I mean, it is so silly. And that is what we have become.
What is laughable is that when the government started the Million Pave program,
It's horrible.
and they went out to St. Thomas and they did a road and there was this big song and dance. If you go in St. Thomas now, it's better if you drive a rock engine through St. Thomas because the roads are so bad.
Bridgefield's still so bad. They must have fixed Bridgefield
Listen,
by now.
Far from finish.
Somehow,
Far from finish.
Far from finished.
it almost seems as if their efforts are backfiring for some reason because they're not genuine.
Yes.
They're not genuine about what they do.
But you remember when we went to St. George, what happened to Mill and Pave when we did our tour to St. George after the flood? The road had
the pave floated away.
Yeah, precisely.
The mill
and
the
they
pave
were warned,
floated
you
away.
know, they were warned that Mill and Pave would not solve the problem.
It's a poor excuse.
Yeah.
It's a poor excuse of road rehabilitation and maintenance. It's poor.
Yeah.
Like I said, and I keep saying, they did a road close to me called Locust Hall, and in less than 6 months, the parts of Locust Hall that has bad substructure, the substrata is bad.
Yes.
They pave over it, and it falls right back in. It's just nonsense. They're wasting taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Wastage.
Yes.
It's just wastage.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are doing a very poor job in managing this country. And like I'll say it because my constituents are saying it. We, the DLP, whatever we have to do. But we need to do it because they need help. The people need help. The people need us to be there for them because they have lost confidence in this government.
What are our young people doing?
Frustrated and because then there are no real opportunities for young people in Barbados.
That's what I meant in terms of job opportunity. What are our young people doing? 18 to 25, 18 to 30.
They're competing with imported labor.
Competing with
They're
import.
competing with imported. Let me be real.
Yes.
Because we hear how lazy Bajans are. Look,
Hey.
the 2%. 2 out of every hour, every additional of that 2% is ain't even a brown mate. 2% ain't not even a brown mate. What? How can you compete with foreign labor who is taking a wage or a salary down here while you living a cost of living up here? The reason that a lot of young people don't want to work is because a lot of the employers want cheap labor.
Cheap labor. So the
And
imported
cheap
labor is
labor
cheaper
can't
labor.
pay bus fare and buy lunch and that kind of thing. When you do the math, with the cheap labor, the average Bajan, it don't make sense he leaving home
Maybe
It does
we've-
not make sense.
Maybe we've stumbled on something then. I was asking the panel, what areas of business possibly could this 225 go to? Construction, perhaps?
Construction and training our young men. It's not only
Construction, Felicia?
Yes, but not
Go
only
overseas to a construction company?
No, not overseas. We have
No, I mean the 225 million.
Yeah,
We're
they
looking
go
at
outside,
possible
yeah.
areas of investment.
but
And let their labor come in here. So go overseas, pay them to send their labor here. I mean,
it's
is
not-
that a
it's
possibility?
It's not fair.
Nothing is making sense
Yeah.
There's so
to
much,
Barbadians.
really
there's so much
unjust.
that's happening in Barbados,
Mhm,
and I don't want to be the person to say it, but I've seen it.
mhm.
We had foreign workers from Europe and Barbados
Mhm.
putting hot mixing holes in Barbados.
I beg your pardon?
Yes.
We had foreign workers. We had foreign Caucasian workers.
What expertise?
But I don't know. But you imagine, you got Europeans down here putting hot mix in
Hot
the hole.
mix. It must take some special
What's so
expertise.
technical about putting hot mix in the hole?
Well, if you come all the way from Europe to do it, it must take some
Something
special
must be
expertise.
really. I mean, we gotta look to see what's happening, and then we go and we cuss off the young people and say they're lazy, they don't want the work. And let me tell you something. I would not leave home for Bashir and lunch money. It does not make sense. You leave home to go to work, to go through the stresses. Work is work, and it has the stresses. I would not leave home to go through the stresses of work for Bashir and lunch money. It does not make sense. You look at the bills. Look at the bills that we're dealing with. The average bill, by the time you finish your bills, you almost out $1,000.
Does a young person in Barbados have any good reason to vote for this government?
They don't.
No,
They
but
don't.
There
But
must be at least one reason. Let's try to find it, though.
I
I
don't.
None.
can't think of one because basically we were deceived.
Well, if you like a fact,
I mean, if you like a fat, but a fat can only go so far. Enjoyment can't pay bills.
Okay.
Enjoyment can't put food on the table. I mean, you might have a good time, but at the end of the day, those bills aren't going to pay themselves.
but they do a good fact, though.
I must give
But
them credit.
when you wake up tomorrow, life's reality is still facing you. Right? You still got bills to pay. You still have the strangling cost of living in this country. And the 21-cent increase per hour will not help anyone with the cost of living. Because as I said before on the show, if you want to help persons with cost of living, reduce VAT. Reduce VAT.
Spending
21
power.
cent per hour increase will not help anyone with cost of
Precisely.
living. It's a token gesture.
Precisely.
So what do they think is going to happen now again when they increase the wage, when they increase wages? Look at what happened the last
the last time.
Or they, like I said,
yeah.
Cost of goods will go up.
they do the same things over and over and over again and expect a different result.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen now again?
I think it's a. I have to intervene on this matter. I think it's an injustice to the young persons. I think that stereotype that young people are just on the block and they're not doing anything. The reality is that if we give a young man a job, he will come to work.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. We know our people. We know how we work. Most of those young men on the block have children. They have families. Some of them have worked before. It's just that as you said, we have a lot of those persons coming in and taking those little jobs. And it's what I said before. What I said before is that we have to be in a position where our people come first.
Yes.
Our people come first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is why we get in all those types of legislation, because we're not putting our people first. Everyone, including our new Minister of Education, all he speaks about, okay, our students need to have this, this possible world that he's thinking about. We need to be who we are as Barbadians. We need to be who we are. We are noble people. We are people that have always worked hard to get this country where it is. To have people come in now to tell us, well, we need to pay people from outside to come and get us employed. This is disrespectful
Yeah, it is.
and it's insultive. And I think the Barbadian society, I'm going to say it again, for the last 7 years, we have allowed this government to get into our subconscious, to allow us to think that we deserve what we get from them. And I think young people understand that. Young people don't think like us,
That's true.
They don't think like us.
That's true.
Because they're seeing what is happening. They're seeing the same government that is telling them to come and work is going out there giving people money. is coming around telling them, well, we're going to charge you for that tint on that vehicle that you have there. You know, the reality is that they're seeing the oppressive government. The oppression right now is on two sectors of our society, the elderly and the youth. The elderly, they're feeling it. We're seeing it every day. And CBC, thank you for highlighting what is happening to our elderly in our societies, their homes, that the government has abandoned, that the minister responsible for people empowerment that always defending this government have not seen the reason for him to go around and check on those elderly persons and the homes that they live in, not conditions for people like us, our people. And when we see the young persons, the young men on the block, we always say, well, you know, the reality is that any one of us could have been on that block.
That's true. There, but for the grace
Any
of God.
one of us could have been on that block when we were growing up.
This has been a very unhappy show. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, Felicia. It has been a very unhappy show. We want to do a happier show next week. 2 days away from Christmas, I think. Christmas is Thursday.
Yes.
So on Christmas, we used to call it Christmas Eve. No? You know about that?
Yep.
On Christmas Eve, we're going to be back here, and we want to do a happier show. We want to invite a lot of people in here. We're going to put drinks on the table. Doc, you and I won't be drinking most of them. And we're going to have black cake. And we want to bring in some old Barbadian artifacts, the old clothes iron and the old Ready Fusion set and so on. We want to do Christmas here next week. David, you coming?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you better come.
Black cake.
Because we want to hear some stories from you about growing up in St. George and old Christmas in St. George. There's nothing old about Damien. Damien will tell us about young Christmas in Bridgetown. And Elvis about old Christmas in St. Philip. And Felicia, not old, middle Christmas in St. Lucia.
And everywhere.
And we're starting at 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And off the set is a man behind there. The government is taking him off the voters list. He got put back on yet? Ainsley Granger got put. He's coming on camera? Ainsley Granger got taken off
On the
the
left.
voters list. We have to get him. St. Michael East. Our candidate is St. Michael East. We laugh at it, but it's a serious thing, because if they could take Ainsley off the voters list, what about you? So that we want you to go into your Democratic Labour Party representative, or call this office 310-5412. We gave out our numbers, but call 310-5412. If your name has been on that infamous list or famous list of 8,291, 8,290, because I think Ainsley Granger is going in and get his name back on that list so that he can vote, and his people, look, the people in St. Michael East are warming towards Ainsley Granger. They took his name off the list, but they're warming to him. And the people in St. George North are warming to you, David Warren. We're getting good news back. And Felicia, we're going to do miracles in St. George South with you. The time is coming. We're hearing that an election is in the air. That's how the government is behaving. Whenever they come, Fanus, Damien, we're going to be ready. Why do they call you Fanus? Everybody calls you Fanus.
I think it's because it's the easiest name to remember.
Easiest name to remember. Okay. Doc, always a pleasure. You're coming through next week for our Christmas show. You have special.
I won't be able to make it next week.
Nah, so sad. So who's going to play keyboards for us?
I am not sure. Maybe one of our producers.
Okay, Ainsley Granger is going to sing.
Ramon Goodman says he can chant.
He can chant.
Oh yes, so we got some entertainment.
This is a prayer, or this is an Anglican chant, or
this is entertainment.
Oh,
music type of chant.
that kind of chant. We thought it was the religious one with the incense and so on.
He says he's very good at it. He dropped some bars on Tuesday.
Well, tell the people which constituency Ramon is.
St. Andrew, the man for St. Andrew.
The man for St. Andrew.
He also has my endorsement as well.
Good.
He's going to do great things in St. Andrew.
Good.
He's up there and he's doing the work.
St. Lucy, Ian Griffith, St. Peter, Jason. Jason has the internet on fire.
Listen, Jason inspires me.
Yes.
I believe that he is going to win St. Peter. I'm going to put my I'm gonna put my house on that.
Yes,
He's
yes,
going to
yes,
listen.
yes.
He's out there every single day.
All people are working hard.
He's working very hard.
All people
and
are working hard.
All people in general. Yeah.
Ainsley and I went to cricket with Pedro Graves
Mm.
2 weekends ago. St. John Cultural was playing against Police. St. John Cultural won, of course, the final, the second division final. Right, Ainsley? Yes. But next Tuesday, we want you, the viewers, to participate. We want you to send in your messages. Director has told us from 6 till 9 next Tuesday. Nice Christmas nostalgia show. And I'm going to call one name. This show will not be good next week unless Ainsley Ben is with us. Ainsley Ben is one of the most vivacious presenters on radio. Ainsley, I beg your pardon. We want you here next week. We want you to sing a duet with Ainsley Granger next week. And conducting the orchestra will be Pastor David Durant. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Next Tuesday, Christmas show. Good night. God bless you.
Good night.
Good night, man.
Virgins, hear me now. If I Harold Barrow could talk today, I got something to say. Why? Raise your flag, but open your eyes. Yeah. If I Harold Barrow had to speak today, what I see would break my heart away. Nothing changed, just a mirror frame, same corruption, just a brand new name. My people, I'm sad to say, you reaping all you sow today. The pride and industry fade away, and now we fighting to find we way. Yeah. Life at two extremes, I tell you so. Hope and hunger, high and low. Poverty mixing with champagne flow, but poor man still can't grow. Suffering and celebrating, starving while them still partaking. Nations rise, time to break that spell. Stop showing contempt for yourself. Change when thieves lead the way. Corruption sweet when give us pay, and government take what poor man lay. Taxation high like mountain peak, while schools and roads still spring a leak. Them flying high, them living sleek, but poor man vice still 2 weeks. So tell me now, who you blaming? Who make the system shaming? Them raise the dead, destroy the cane. No migration needs the pain. You believe us like the clay, and now me a playing God today. Talking sweet but turn away from the people who make she laugh. And smile she wear like she care, but she can't share. You think she love, you think she fair, or she trying to run you from here? Errol watching from up above. Barbadians where the unity and love we used to build, we used to fight. Now we just beg and say alright. Let we rise again, take back pride, build Barbados from inside. And I, Errol, gone back to sleep again. Errol, but I pray next time I wake, my people go rise, rise, I say. Bimshar still alive. Boy, you sell it. Boy, you sell it. Bimshar still alive. We just need to revive. Bimshar still alive. We just need to revive.
Lift your hands, Barbados. It's a new season, a new day. Together we rise, one people, one hope, one DLP.
We've been through trials, we've been through pain, but hope is rising like the morning rain. Voices of the people, strong and true. A brighter tomorrow is waiting for you. Honest voices, standing tall, balance justice, one and all. Trust restored. The people say a brand new dawn begins today. One family call, one Barbados, a place for all, to south, east to west, we stand together, giving our best for justice and fairness. We answer the call. One DLP means hope for all. Honest voices, standing tall, balanced justice, one and all. Hand in hand, we'll find the way. A brighter dawn begins today. One family call, one Barbados, a place for all. Hope is rising, the vision clear. God bless this land we all hold dear. One vision, one people, together we rise, with faith in our hearts and hope in our eyes. Stronger united, no voice too small. One DLP, one Barbados for all. Called DLP, the people's choice. Hear the power in every voice. Hope is rising, the vision clear. A blessed Barbados starts right here. One DLP, one family call, one Barbados, a place for all. Hope is rising, the vision clear. God bless this land we all hold dear. Oh, people, one DLP, one family call, one Barbados, a place for all. Hope is rising, the vision clear. God bless this land. We all forever strong.